guys were here last year, this guy was a hit. Really looking forward to seeing what he's got in the Togal side of things, the future of AI, ChatGPT kind of stuff. So help me welcome Johnny Maghzal to the stage with Togal.
Thank you, thank you. Perfect. Can you all hear me well? Yes. Oh, thank God. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Johnny Maghzal, as Grant said. Last year, for the people who were not here, he gave me a hug on the stage because I said his name so many times. So good morning, everyone, again. My name is Johnny Maghzal. I am the head of product development at Togal.AI, which is a quantity takeoff tool that leverages AI to do takeoffs. I am also lucky to be one of the founding members of the company, so I've been in the company since day one. But before I start talking about TogalAI, I really, from the bottom of my heart, want to thank Beck, not only for being our great partner, but also for putting this event, like last year was full here, now you have the back is full, people on the upper floor there. So thank you so much, Stuart, and all the Beck team. Obviously, there's so much that goes into putting an event like this together, so thank you for that as well. Okay, so now I will start. Oh, we can give them a round of applause, yes, for sure. Why not? Okay, that's good. Thank you. So again, as I said, this would be the outline of what we will cover today. It should be informative, fun, and a little bit futuristic, okay? For the people who were not here last year, the first section of this presentation is for you. And for the people who were here last year, we'll give you a little bit of nostalgic walk through your memories, a little bit, okay? And so the first thing I'm going to cover is from Precon World 2022. Then I will talk about TogalGBT and ChatGPT and all the sound that come from that. Takeoff 2.0, which is a term I like to choose a lot these days. What is coming next for Togal, for Beck and Togal in terms of the integration. Some futuristic stuff, again, for the people who were last year, I showed a couple of futuristic stuff and people started emailing me about them, which was very interesting. And some personal thoughts about my experience in this tech/Preconstruction. But also, I forgot to tell you that, again, for the people who don't know me, I used to be an estimator as well for 3 years before that as assistant superintendent. So I come from the industry and I have so much empathy for the user. And this is my role in Togal, basically, to just make sure that we are building the tool for the estimator. So let's start from what happened last year. I was on the same stage with different background. Obviously, we had a guitar last year for the people who missed it. But I brought this meme and I told the people that in the past, before 2022, I felt like construction software knew how important pre-construction people were, but they focused on construction tech for the people on the job site. They didn't care too much about us. Okay, so this was the theme for the meme. But then I said that things are changing. Okay, they are caring about us. Again, and this is all this from last year. But I'm bringing them up to show you, again, if you have been around this hype of how much tech is coming into pre-construction, you understand what I mean. There's so many construction tech now that is coming up just for pre-construction. They know how important we are. So these were things from last year. Another thing I discussed last year is, can we go to the next one? So what I discussed last year, again, this is the normal life cycle of any job site. Again, the typical, job cycle of any, life cycle of any job site. But I focused on this point, which is the point where we hand over, as a pre-con people, we hand over our work to the people on the job site. And I spoke that this point is not a point anymore. It is disappearing. It is more integrated. Pre-construction is not like, oh, I'm done, I give you my work, and the people on the job site continue. Jobs are becoming more complicated, so the line in the sand is not clear anymore. Okay, these are some of the things that I covered last year. But the thing that I also covered last year is the term the term augmentation versus automation. I can promise you, I got so much love from the people here about this term, because I was advocating for something. I was advocating for the idea that in AI, we have to focus on augmentation versus automation. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but augmentation means let's not try to replace the user. In estimating, there is so much art, especially in estimating. I will show you that what I'm saying also holds outside estimating. But in estimating, in Precon, there's so much art in the estimator brain that it is a little bit nonsense to even try to automate everything. We need to augment the estimator. And by augmenting the estimator, I mean, let's keep the artistic part of their trade for them and just remove the parts that is maybe repetitive. So why I'm bringing this up this year, can we go to the next slide, please? Because what happened in May 2023, this year, let's go to the next slide. What happened in May 2023 is Microsoft came up with Copilot, okay? So Copilot is the new AI that Microsoft invested in OpenAI. As you might, all of you know, OpenAI is the company that created ChatGPT. And now in November 1st, you as an enterprise people who use Microsoft, you will get access to Copilot as the enterprise suite. But why am I bringing this one? Can we go to the next slide? Because, one more click please, everyone. Because of this, if you go to Copilot website, to Microsoft, go to Microsoft Copilot. Again, I'm not trying to say that I was right last year, but I want to show you a point, okay? That even Microsoft wrote on their website, Copilot is not autopilot, okay? So it is not autopilot. This is the point. Maybe I should have called it Copilot versus autopilot. I called it augmentation versus automation. I messed up, but this is the point. Please, let us all understand that when it comes to AI in the construction industry, we should view it as a co-pilot rather than an autopilot. So that's that. Can we go to the, again, I just tried to zoom in a little bit more. So this is what happened last year. This is what I covered. Again, I am saying them just to make pave the road to what's coming next. So one of the main topics of my discussion today is TogalGBT and how we use GPT inside construction. Next slide, please. So what happened this year, obviously, as you all know, ChatGPT came up, and then Microsoft invested in OpenAI, a couple of $100 billion. I don't know how much they threw in it. But what we did is we reached out directly to OpenAI people because our CTO has a lot of knowledge in, like, a lot of connections in the space. And we asked them if they have an API which we could have connected to. And they said yes. They gave access to this API, I think, to 2,000 companies in the world. In the beginning only, we had to build a case, why we need it, why construction, blah, 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 how this will work. They accepted, they gave us access to the API. And then, obviously, Microsoft invested in them, and now we API'd with them under the Microsoft Enterprise umbrella. This is very important for the IT people in your companies. IT people in construction companies will not allow a company to use OpenAI user agreement because they use all your data. Under the Microsoft Enterprise umbrella, there is more protection for IT people. So what we did, as you might know, if some of you, I'm sure, have used ChatGPT already, ChatGPT, you ask it a question and it replies from the internet. A lot of times, I'm not talking bad about ChatGPT, it is an amazing tool, okay? Sometimes it can give you nonsense. It can answer stuff, it can hallucinate, they call it. Sometimes it can give you answers that never in the world that existed. So we wanted to protect the user. In our industry, you cannot tell me that this is a marble tile if it was an LVT, because I will lose my job. So what we did is we took this API, we took Toggle interface, and we built a filtering agent on top of it. What does the filtering agent do? It will prevent ChatGPT to reply from the internet only. So it will only reply from the documents that the user uploads. So this is the sense of protection. It limits the software. It limits ChatGPT a little bit, but it provides us a safe ground for us to play, okay? So let's show you some use cases. Next, please. Okay, so some use cases that we used. Again, this is built inside Togal. If you like to use it, we will more than happy to show you a demo as well. What we did, we said, okay, we want to try this. We don't know how this will work in the industry. Let's put it there silent and show it to some of our users. And we do that, and we will see what use cases will come out of it. Again, we didn't know what people will use it for. But over this 4 months period, we saw 3 main use cases. The first use case is they use it for finding information. Somebody uploads a spec book with 1,000 sheets and they want to ask a question. Obviously, you can go control find and find the thing you want, but it is much easier to ask what is the flooring on this room and something give you the answer for it. Okay? With the filter we built, if the information is not provided, it will not reply. It will tell you, I don't know the answer. Okay? So this is the first use case we saw. The second use case is referring to information source. So you can ask it, for example, where in this document I can find this. It will give you the page, and then you can click on the page and take you to that page on the document. And the last one, which was very interesting, and it's a little bit scary for me, is people used it to draft RFIs and things like that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you some use cases right now. Can you go to the next slide? So for example, the one on the top left, you can see somebody asked it any information about flooring. And you can see it answers pretty well. And again, mind you, it will not answer from the internet. It scares me when people think, I in the beginning was scared when my tech team told us that, oh, we can use it. I was like, from the internet? No. So as you see, for example, this person here asked any info on flooring, and it gives them all the information on the flooring for that project, for the specific documents that the user uploaded. The one on the right is they went back and forth. For example, what type of flooring does this job call for, and where is the wall tile on this project? So you can see it can very well put together the sentences and help the user know where the information is or what the information is. Okay? So this is the first use case. We can go to the next slide. The second use case here is a little bit even more advanced. Like this guy asked it, is a guy actually, the one on the right. He asked it what would be the liquidated damages if the garage is late for 30 days and the other part of the building is late for another day. And it literally did that from the contract document. They uploaded the contract document and they were asking it question. So what it did here, it found the terms for the liquidated damages on the garage and the tower and did the calculation and gave the user the output. On the other side, this guy as well asked it if there is 9 doors with this set of hardware, how many pieces of each item in the hardware I need, and it does the calculation. So you can see, for example, based on the provided context, the total number of hardware required for set 10 are 9. So you have you need 27 hinges, 9 electric locks, and the rest. Okay? So another use case. And go to the last slide. This is another use case. Actually, we helped this company to attach TogalGBT to their WhatsApp, and they were on the job site with the windowsills subcontractor, and they wanted to know who had to prepare the floor, who had to prepare the surfaces before putting the windowsills. Instead of going to the job, to the office, opening a document, either it's a Word document, it's like a printed document, or it is something on like the computer, they just asked it, what does this subcontractor Exhibit A state about the caulking glazing? And then you see TogalGBT extracted the information from the contract document, or from Exhibit A in this case, and it told them, for example, this subcontractor is responsible for preparing the surface. Okay? So, different use cases. Again, we still don't know what is the ultimate use case for Togal, like in an estimator setup, but we are figuring it out with the user. The last one is the most surprising one for me. This person asked it to write an RFP for painting based on whatever document he uploaded. And just mind you, these people are not using this as a final draft. What we did in the interface is that it can draft these for you, and then you can just hit copy over here, and you copy-paste it in an email or copy-paste it on your Word document, and then you can adjust it right there. So what it's doing here is giving you a starting point, okay? Yes. The idea, again, of the co-pilot rather than the autopilot. I actually know a lot of my friends who are lawyers now, and they are using this, but not TogalGBT, they use ChatGPT, but they, again, use it as a starting point. Write me this thing, and I'll change the terms. It's just saving people a lot of times. So this is TogalGBT. Again, it is available inside Togal. If you'd like to use it, we are more than happy to give you access to it. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the next item on my list is Takeoff 2.0. So let's jump into that. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is a very, very important for me and very dear slide to my heart, okay? I asked the marketing team to build this tool, to build this slide for me, because it is making us much easier communicate to the user what are the components of a good quantity takeoff tool, which is, again, a little bit something that I had never thought about it in my life as an estimator. I had to go outside of estimator to think about it. But in my opinion, and in our opinion as Togal, a good quantity takeoff tool has to have 3 main components done correctly, or else it's not that good, okay? The first component is managing and uploading the drawings. Users spend so much time uploading drawings and renaming them. So for example, inside Togal, we allow the user to upload drawings and leave them, go to another project. You can upload drawings on one project and then doing a takeoff on another project, all in the same time. You don't need to wait for the interface if you are uploading 400 drawings, for example, to upload to be able to use it. This is one thing. The other thing we also provide the user is the ability to auto-name drawings as well. So this is the first important component of a takeoff tool. The second important component is doing the takeoff. Obviously, it's a quantity takeoff tool. There are 2 ways you can do takeoffs inside Togal, using the AI or the manual takeoff tool that you are all used to. Again, I'm not going to dig deep, but this is paving the road for me. And the last and the most important tool in a quantity takeoff tool should be exporting. We should allow the user to, I think Chris was saying this word a lot today, massage the data. We should allow the user to massage the data before having to export it to whatever tool they need to. So also inside Togal, we have built very, very nice interfaces to allow the user to massage the data. But last but not least sits the collaboration. And this is, again, what I spoke about last year, is that communication in pre-construction is something that we need to enhance on as software vendors. And what we did is we created a collaboration tool inside Togal, which I'm going to show you very quick snippets of today, where we allow multiple people to do takeoffs on the same drawing in real time without cluttering each other's views and without worrying that somebody else will change my takeoff without me knowing. So we provide this type of a permissioning where we can all see each other's takeoffs, but if I don't give permission to somebody, they cannot change my takeoff without me knowing about it. And obviously, as estimators, we will not go to sleep knowing that somebody is changing our takeoff. So we wanted to make sure we all go to sleep. So what is Takeoff 2.0? Let's go to the next slide. So here I will go very quickly. Again, if you like to know more about this stuff, I will be here all day. I can show you live demos, or again, we can book demos with the back team for you over here. So what type of takeoffs does Togal automate? I will have to come here to quickly show you what the types of takeoff. The first type of takeoff, we call it net area. And basically, it is the areas excluding the area under the wall. So everything you see here in light green was drawn by the AI, okay? But the first type of takeoff, as I said, is the areas excluding the area under the wall. We stop at the edge of the wall. This is like your flooring, ceiling paint, baseboard, any type of takeoff like that. Next one. The second type of takeoff, we call it gross area, which is the areas, including the area under the wall. So if a wall is shared between two spaces, we split it in half. If a wall is exterior, we give that whole wall to the whole space. The use cases, high-level budget, program analysis of the building, or something like that. Next one, please. The third type of takeoff we automate is the wall center lines. So we draw the center line of the wall for the user. Obviously, you all know this better than me. CMU, drywall, any type of takeoff that requires you to do the takeoff on the center line of the wall. Okay? The fourth type of takeoff, I caught him off guard. He was taking a picture of me and he was changing. The fourth type of takeoff is the wall perimeter, okay? Which is basically, the difference between this is instead of taking the wall from the center line, we take the perimeter of the room. This is mainly your paint, wall covering, anything like that, okay? And the other type of takeoff we do is the wall center lines. Can we change that too? We also now are able to measure the thickness of those doors as lines. So if you want to subtract the openings of the doors from your CMU or from your drywall takeoff, you can also do that. And the last type of takeoff we automate is the counts, and we count certain objects automatically for the user. Again, I am more than happy to show all of you how these work in real time. So that's from the takeoff side. But how does this connect? Next slide, please. How does this connect to what I was saying, the Copilot? Okay, I was talking about this Copilot. So the idea here, please, if you're gonna get anything from this presentation, only get this. The idea here, let's go back. One slide. So this is a floor plan. What will happen is when you use Toggle on the floor plan, the AI will draw the spaces for you. Next slide. You as a user, the Copilot, will select the spaces. Next slide. You see? And now you put your art piece into it. Next slide. So now I create a classification, let's say carpet flooring. I hit save. Next slide. And now the spaces will get assigned. So what we did, next slide, is instead of you as the estimator having to spend 40 minutes coloring and tracing spaces and drawing points and burning your eyes, we draw these spaces for you. You select them, spend 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes co-piloting this thing, and you get a final product. So this is the whole idea of Copilot versus Autopilot.
Okay.
Next slide, please. And because I dance salsa, I always like to include dancing in my topics. So this Copilot is a dance. It is a dance, next slide, between the human and the machine, okay? You can see it like that. The human gives a little bit, the machine gives a little bit. We all make the whole thing more proficient and more, we speed it up, okay? With dancing is other than speeding it up. But, yes, and I dance salsa. If any of you know a good salsa place tonight, please let me know, I will be there. Okay, next slide, please. So, the next thing we did, again, inside Toggle, we hear a lot from the customers. Again, I don't know if some of you here are already our customers. I make it my job that if a customer sends us an email, maximum 15 minutes, our team should be replying to them. So, one thing we heard a lot, that people want to count stuff, okay? And I have used every takeoff tool on Earth right now. I was in Australia like 2 months ago, trying tools in Australia, and every tool has an auto count feature in it, okay? Let's go to the next slide. But every tool that has an auto count tool, feature in it, they are relying on algorithms that are a little bit outdated. And these algorithms that they rely on can be tricked by noise. And as also you know, construction drawings can be very noisy. And what they ask the user to do is set up a sensitivity bar. And the user doesn't know what a sensitivity bar, and I can assure you, the engineer who built it doesn't know what a sensitivity bar is. 100%, I'll put my life on it, okay? So what I try to make sure with our tech team that we don't want a sensitivity bar. It's not the job of the estimator to know what a sensitivity is. So what we did, next slide please, is we built this symbol search. We call it symbol search. Basically the user, next slide, goes in image search. draws a rectangle around an image, this is the only requirement, is that the sample that the user shows is not noisy. It should be clean. Go to the legend, find the cleanest symbol that you look for, show it to us, and that's only what you need to do. You don't need to set up a sensitivity bar. I'm sorry. You hit search, and we will find, next slide please. We will find all, next one too. We will find all the symbols that are like the symbol you showed us, but are intruded by noise. And this is the whole idea of this tool. It reduces noise and finds the symbol for you. For us, for Toggle, it opened huge market because now companies that do MEP takeoffs are also coming for us. Window takeoffs, because they do from the tags, they are coming to us. So this is a very, very powerful feature for us. Again, I was very keen that our team never releases this until it had like more than 97% accuracy when we predicted anything. Because the industry is fed up with the count tools. They have seen count tools up to their gills, and we didn't want people to think, oh, this is the next count tool that never works. So very, very, very powerful tool is very important for us as Toggle as well. Next slide, please. Togal Collaboration. I talked about this last year too. No, I'm good on time. I talked about this last year too, but we executed it last year. Okay, what is called Togal Collaboration? What I said 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, is that with this tool, we are allowing teams of 6, 7 estimators who are working on the same project to work on the same file in real time without cluttering each other's views and with the right permission. So what I will show you here is the following. This is a takeoff. Can you go to the next slide, please? Now, like you've been using Google Sheets or Google Docs, you can invite your colleagues to a drawing, to a file, to a project. You just add your colleague, and your colleague will get access to whatever takeoff you want to give them. Huge tool for the users. Currently, what people do when they use takeoff tools, if you want to share an information with your colleague, you have to go through 6 steps. You have to open the takeoff tool, download the PDF, export the PDF of what you are doing, export an Excel, open an email, write an email, attach those Excel and PDF to the email, and forward them to your colleague. With this tool, all you need to do is invite your colleague to the takeoff and give them the right permission you want them to. Is it a manager, an editor, a viewer? You can control that. Okay, next slide, please. So this is the other thing I said. Without cluttering each other's views. Every estimator who gets invited to the takeoff gets their own view. So if I'm doing a wall takeoff and Grant is doing a, I don't know, fire insulation takeoff on the same floor plan, he doesn't need to be affected by my takeoff or clutter his view. No, he can have his own view. However, can we go to the next slide? You see, David has his own view. Next slide.
Show me that.
Next slide again. And now we also have the combined view. So each person has their own view of doing their own takeoff, but also the team leader now, with one click of a button, has access to everybody's takeoff. So now, for example, why didn't you pick up this space? Now we have this opportunity to open for questions. Why we didn't do this takeoff? Why didn't we do that? So now again, if somebody is on vacation or on sick leave, currently you have to call them, hey Johnny, can you please go out of bed, open your laptop and send me the file because I need to continue the takeoff on? This is all disappearing. We are all in one location on the cloud doing takeoffs all together again, without cluttering each other's views and without worrying that somebody will change our takeoff. Let's go to the next slide, please. Okay? Let's see. I have another 4 minutes. I think I will be able to make it. I'm sorry if I'm talking very fast. Okay. Okay, what's next? What's coming next for Toggle? Can we go to the next slide? So you saw the collaboration tool. I showed you that. We are now working on takeoff commenting. We can comment on the drawing. Hey, Johnny, I tagged Johnny. Johnny gets a notification. You missed this space. This is not LVT. This is marble. This is granite. So this is coming. arcs and circle takeoffs. The industry, it's so funny that maybe there's one tool or a couple of tools that do this. But takeoff estimators who do takeoffs, they are so hungry for a tool that has arcs, that does takeoffs on arcs. Well, we are coming with arcs and with circles as well for takeoff. TogalGBT for visual aspects. So the TogalGBT I showed you today was only for text. It only makes reason from text. We are building the next generation that will make sense of your takeoff and what's visually on the drawings. So this is coming next as well. Wall tags. We hear this, I hear this every day. If you are doing a drywall takeoff, yes, we draw the walls for you, but users want us to go the next step, tag those walls for us. So we are working on a tool as well. If you put a construction drawing of a drywall, for example, it will cluster all the walls that are called A1, or all the walls that are called A4, or all the walls that are called D1. You still, as a co-pilot, need to know what A1 is and how you're going to price it, but we're going to cluster them, give you the quantities, and you can do whatever you want after that. So that's that. And drawing comparison, which is like overlays. We already have overlays inside Togal. I didn't want you to be more bored and annoyed with my voice. But we are going with the drawing comparison on the next level, that it will automatically tell you what changed, and we think this is important for you, or you care about this change, and you don't care about the other change. So all these are coming inside Togal. Some of them in the next 2-3 months, some of them in the next 8 to 12 months. Next slide, since I have time. Futuristic stuff. Last year, again, I put some slides about futuristic stuff. I put this software where you write a sentence and it creates a video for you. And I was just trying to spark the idea. I was like, okay, where things are going. You can say that I want a picture of Johnny on the moon wearing I don't know what, and the software was creating this stuff for us. And again, I showed them here. But this was before ChatGPT went out and everybody knew about it. So things moved very fast, and the innovation in the space is becoming a little bit slower and slower right now. But a new thing that I have been very interested in is RAGs. Can we go back 1 second? One slide. It's retrieval augmented generation. This company Rewind, let's go to the next one. This company Rewind is doing very, very good job of them. Again, it's not related to construction. All I'm trying to do here is just spark these neurons in our brain. So I showed you TogalGBT. TogalGBT, or let's say ChatGPT. Let's be a little bit more generic. ChatGPT gets trained on data set, let's say, in 2022. And every time you ask it questions, it will only reply on data that is trained in 2022. It costs them around $1 million a day to maintain this software and to retrain it every time. So what are these tools coming up with is they will update. So this tool Rewind is like an assistant. You use the tool, everything you do, everything literally, on your phone, any meeting you go to, any notes you write, anything, everything will get recorded, okay? It can be a little bit, you know, what they say, like it will record everything you do, but you are deciding that you want that to happen, obviously. So it will record everything you do. So now, every time you ask it a new question, it will reply based on the things it saw from your interactions, okay? And it can take you back to where that interaction happened. Very, very interesting tools. Again, they are more towards developers right now. So even if you go to their website, there is for engineers, sales, and people with ADHD, okay? Very, very interesting technologies. There is one for executives as well. I'm not getting paid for this, I swear. But again, very, very interesting technologies. Again, now the incremental changes in these technologies, the changes in these technologies will be incremental. Obviously, the breakthroughs happened. Now people are finding the use cases. I think this is an amazing use case. I don't know how it will be used in the industry, but that's something to keep an eye on. Can I go to the next slide? And the next slide is a personal thoughts, okay? Every year I try to doubt myself about these things that I'm going to say now, but every year I become more convinced, more convinced, more convinced. So I call these 3 steps to help with a tech strategy. I maybe would, I did this slide maybe 3 days ago. But maybe in these 3 days, I would even change the title. I will call it 3 steps to anything related to tech, okay? If we as tech companies are selling to construction companies, or if it's a construction company that's trying to adopt tech in it, please, from the bottom of my heart, I believe in this, okay? Let's go 2 slides. These are the 3 steps, okay? First, figure out the process. Never try to lead with the tech. The tech comes always at the end. Figure out the process, build the user empathy, and 100% the tech will follow. You can go now and see millions of tech vendors selling millions of tech tools out there. But if you don't figure out the process, if you don't figure out the user empathy. So from our side, as a tech vendor, the user empathy is hiring people in our team who are estimators, for example, to always ground our engineers. No, this is fancy, but the estimator doesn't care about this. This is one thing we can do. And the other thing is stay close to our customers. So this is how we can build user empathy. For the construction companies, again, because I came from big construction company, I know what they went through into adopting tech. The empathy of your employees in order to use the tool is very important. So again, maybe it's not related to what I talked to, but I really wanted to share this because I think it's part of how we should view anything related to tech. Process, user empathy, and tech will follow. And I would like to thank you all for spending this time listening to my annoying voice. Any one of you would like to have a demo, you can reach out either to me on Johnny@Togal.AI or sales@Togal.AI, and I am more than happy to give you demos. Thank you so much. Thank you back. Thanks, everyone.